The Shining is a glaring example of a film that has led to countless interpretations, favored by its complex and enigmatic nature, sometimes leading to interpretative deliriums, as confirmed by its documentary film Room 237. It is our belief that since the themes are intrinsic to the dramaturgy of the narrative film, the thematic interpretation is valid if it grounds itself in dramaturgical analysis, something that even many good film studies lacks. In this video, we offered a basic dramaturgical analysis of the film The Shining, using a method which follows authors such as Sid Field, Christopher Vogler, and Dara Marx. We deal with both the narrative world, the characters, the relations in the environment in which they act, and the narrative structure. This analysis aims at offering a new basis of reconsidering the thematic interpretations proposed until now, in order to test the validity of the implicit and symptomatic meanings which have been made about Kubrick's films. In spite of being an enjoyable horror film that evokes myths and fables, The Shining does not present a rigorously canonical dramatic framework. Nevertheless, the three-act structure is respected. The first act starts at the beginning and ends when Danny enters the Colorado Lounge with bruises on his neck. The second act starts when Jack enters the Gold Room in anger and ends when Granny releases him from the pantry. The third act occupies the remaining part of the film until the closing credits starts. At the same time, the 12 stages and most of the archetypes of the hero's journey as theorized by Vogler is traceable in The Shining, albeit being peculiarly distributed between Jack and Danny. Okay. In the first act, we have a situation of apparent balance for the Jack and his family. His manifest goal or desire meshes well with the offered circumstances.
Well, that just happens to be exactly what I'm looking for. I'm outlining a new writing project, and 5 months of peace is just what I want.
His wife seems to be enthusiastic about the prospect as well. Jack is not even worried about the tragedy that occurred in 1970.
Well, you can rest assured, Mr. Ullman, that's not going to happen with me.
But of course, this functions as an overshadowing for the audience. Danny feels lonely since he has nobody to play with and he is reluctant about going to the hotel. But he can't oppose the project, right? The boy is a young hero who looks for a sense of satisfaction. What is unusual about The Shining is also that the fact that we have a threshold crossing of sorts inside the first act, when the protagonist and his family settle in the Overlook Hotel. The hotel is a special world for them, thus they have to explore it. In a sense, Jack's adventure is that of being a caretaker of the Overlook Hotel. However, there is no actual problem yet, but only the potentiality of it because 1. Premonitions due to the tragedy of 1970 and to the images conveyed by Danny's Shining, and 2. Those uncanny events such as Jack staring at the hedge model, or in the distance with the vacant stare, his use of words.
I wish we could stay here forever, ever, ever.
Like the ghostly Grady twins do. Shit, I'm scared. Moreover, we will discover later that the actual adventure for Jack is not that of being the caretaker of the ordinary Overlook, but rather the caretaker of the special Overlook, which does not entail running the boilers and like so much as killing his family. Furthermore, when Jack calls Wendy to tell her that he got the job, we have a sort of call of adventure for the family, or in Field's term, an inciting incident for Danny. But this is not the adventure proper in a dramatic sense. The Overlook Hotel is the place that houses the Torrance family for the most of the narrative. It is a majestic and luxurious isolated place, with a grisly past. On the one hand, the isolation serves as the reverse side of the communication, in a film which is all about communication. On the other hand, it makes the Overlook Hotel a self sufficient microcosmos, a symbolic and absolute space, a home and a familiar place par excellence, where the destruction of the family is carried out. The Overlook Hotel was built on a Native American burial ground, and Native American motifs have been absorbed in the hotel in the grace of Navajos rugs on the walls and floors. This suggests that the Overlook and its ghost are symbol of archetypal and sempiternal psychological issues. Moreover, the film is full of references to myths, fables, and horror literatures. The hotel, a haunted house of sort, seemed like a ghost ship to Wendy.
Nice. You'll never know anybody was ever here.
Just like a ghost ship.
Jack huffs and puffs like a big bad wolf when he attacks his wife in the bathroom.
Then I'll huff. And I'll puff.
Likewise, during the tour in the kitchen, which she describes as an enormous maze.
It's the best place I've ever seen.
Yeah, this whole place is such an enormous maze. I feel like I'll have to leave a trail of breadcrumbs every time I come in.
These references serves also as a setup, or a foreshadowing both for the climax of the third act, which evokes Theseus and a Minotaur, and for the recurrent spatio-temporal disorientation that occurs in the film. Of course, Danny's relationship with his parents recalls the Oedipal complex as well. Jack does not have a strong inciting incident, although something similar happens when he scolds Wendy in the Colorado lounge, asking her not to disturb him while he's working.
Yeah?
And when, in that following sequence, he is seen staring outside in the window while Wendy and Danny are playing in the snow. We start worrying that he may be suffering from cabin fever, that he may become physically aggressive once again. We also have another proof that Wendy is psychologically fragile since she is submissive to her husband. Well, this is perceivable when she timorously tells the pediatrician about Jack's alcoholism and the incident that arose consequently. Nevertheless, in the second and the third act, she will react strongly to her husband's aggression. We'll see that. Jack's nightmare of killing his family may be compared to a call of adventure, since it is the first explicit sign of murderous thought, which are going to be construed as the new desire during the adventure. Therefore, we also have a refusal of call from Jack, because he recounts the nightmare in a hurtful and worried way. The refusal of call is traceable in Danny as well. Differently from his parents, he does not seem to be willing to go to the Overlook, because his imaginary friend Tony does not want to. Tony, a personification of Danny's shining, represents Harald, the one who declares the beginning of the adventure. As a matter of fact, Tony's communication is followed by the first manifestation of uncanny images of the Overlook Hotel. Happens in the same sequence in which Jack calls to inform that he took the job. Both Jack and Danny have a mentor. However, only the boy meets his own mentor in the first act in the canon. Danny's mentor is Halloran, an ex-hero who is now old and wants to offer his wisdom and experience to the new generation. Halloran finds out that Danny has his own power, the Shining, and thus gives him some advice. He explains that the bad things happens and leave traces, though implying that these are innocuous. He reassures him that the things he sees through the shining, are just like pictures in a book. Forwards him to entering room 237. But ironically, Danny is the first to make contact with evil forces of the Overlook Hotel as he goes into the room 237. As a sort of hero, the boy must learn how to use his power in a self-conscious manner. Danny's entrance in room 237 is presented as his first real crossing of the first threshold, because he accesses the forbidden places, which really is a special world. Notice that Christoph Penderecki's composition, The Awakening of Jacob, used here, was already heard during the boy's first vision and will be heard again when Jack goes in room 237.
Mom!
The first plot point follows. Danny enters the Colorado lounge with bruises on his neck. His father wakes up from the nightmare, and now we have an actual pragmatic problem. Someone hurt the boy, thus there is a possibility of being physically injured inside the hotel. Once again, Jack and Danny's paths interweave. While the boy is in a special world of room 237, his father has a nightmare. After Danny leaves the room 237, Jack enters the special world. And now, the second act.